This is the Marketing Agency Power Hour, and I'm your host, Cal Wilder. Each week, we'll power through discussions on business challenges, success stories, and game-changing strategies. This show is sponsored by SmartBooks, provider of bookkeeping and accounting for marketing agencies. Let's get started. So I'm pumped to be talking to today's guest. He's a marketing leader, a determined entrepreneur, a digital footprint specialist, and an inspirational conference speaker. He's a branding expert who actually spent a decade as a full-stack software engineer before making the shift to marketing and building bold, innovative designs. He's been honored as a B&I Speaker of the Week multiple times, and he is the co-founder of Rootless Agency. Xhulio Jamaku, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So what is the single most powerful strategy for success in your marketing agency now?
That's a great question. So if I can put that into one single strategy, I would say it would be if when our customers come to us and they're looking for something very specific that maybe they've seen their competitors do, or maybe some other industry that they might not be related to, we don't just come in and say, yeah, this is our price and we will do it, but rather we try to get into their shoes and analyze, is this something that they really need, or is there something better that they could spend their money on, and see how they could reach their objectives with the less money spent on, essentially. So we come in as a strategy team rather than just a marketing agency that does what the customer says.
And so what does that mean for your sales process, and how do you market that kind of approach?
Yeah, definitely. So usually to market something like this, it's a little bit tough because people don't really expect you to say something like this initially or right away when they're visiting the website or looking for something. When people are looking to hire a marketing agency, they know they have a service in mind that they're looking to um, hire someone to work on. So what we do is when they come to our website, usually they're introduced to all our services, and we always provide a free consultation call, meaning that once they reach out to us, we reach back out and say, hey, let's just jump on a 30-minute call to discuss these services further. And then on that call, we dive deeper into the part of actually there might be a better solution.
Based on what you recommend, does your firm provide all those services or just some components, and you partner with other agencies for other components?
Yeah, we would love to offer all the possible marketing services that there are, but I'm sure you've heard this a lot. It's not something that is easy to achieve, and there's only so many experts you can hire to work on these things. So what we do is we partner with other agencies that we know for sure provide a specific service really well. And whenever we need that agency to be involved within a project, we integrate them in and have them work on this project with us as we're doing our work as well. So in a sense, one of our other key components of our sales pitch with our customers is that we to our customers, we're kind of their part-time marketing department, meaning if they don't have enough resources to hire a full-time marketing team, if they work with Rootless Agency, they'll have the possibility to explore as many different marketing strategies as they could without the need to hire a full-time marketing team. So it's a lot of partnerships that we bring together and bring all these experts together to achieve that one final goal that the customer is looking for.
And are you the one who's primarily leading this process, or do you have other people that you've trained up into your approach that are able to sell and onboard new engagements?
Within Rootless Agency, I'm the one who handles all I like to call myself the project manager of the company. All I do is talk to customers literally and translate that language into designer language or coding language or whatever language is needed to be translated on. That's my next goal. If you could ask me what I'd like to do within a few years or so, and where I see myself is I'd like to have somebody who could kind of mimic what I do and be able to communicate with customers on the same level as I do, and helps them whenever is needed. Because the funny thing about owning your company is when you work corporate, it's a 9 to 5. After 5 o'clock, you shut your phone off and you could care less what happens until the next morning. But when you have your company, if a customer reaches out at 6 p.m., you have to handle that conversation. Otherwise, it's very easy for them to switch and hire another agency to do their work.
Hmm. So how do you go about pricing these engagements? They seem like they could be kind of broad, or do you end up narrowing it down very specifically? How do you go about pricing it?
Yeah, very good question. We like to phase things out. It becomes very overwhelming if we come in a call and say, okay, you're looking for 10 services, so here's the price for all 10 services. That doesn't usually work well because one, it's even if you spend that amount of money, it might not really work towards the final goal. And two, what happens is that most of the services that we provide might be related to other services, and you can't really do service 5 if you haven't done service 1. And I can put this into an example. Let's say if a company is looking to do Facebook ads where people on Facebook can just go and sign up a form and reach out to them to hire them for, let's say, plumbing services. Now, if this plumber doesn't have a good logo and a good website, chances are that their conversion rate is not going to be that high. Meaning, what they initially need to work on is working on their branding and logo to have a very well established brand, and then transition that into a website that is built for high conversions. Now, once you have those two components in, that's when you can start integrating those Facebook ads, because now you have some sort of credibility online that people can go in and check and verify who you are and what type of work you do. So that's why usually when we jump into these discovery calls, we phase everything out, and we would give them a price for phase 1, which could be the logo and the website, and we could give them a price for phase 2 later on, which could be social media management, SEO, blogging, and any other service that that could fit in.
Hmm. So how do you manage? Do you charge fixed prices then for the scope of work?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So that is one of our main selling points, I would say, for our company. There's a big stigma with the agencies around the states that usually they would give you a price for a project, and then 80% down the road, there's some sort of hidden fees that shows up for this project, and people don't really like that. So there's this negative association with people working with agencies and that fear that they usually have. So that is one thing that we pride ourselves in, and we give the customers that peace of mind that if we give them a price, we're going to honor that price all the way till the end. And it has happened before where we promised the customer X amount of price for a project, but the amount of work that we put in surpassed that amount that we initially promised them. And because of that, we couldn't go back and say, hey, this is additionally how much it's going to charge you to finish the project, or rather just consider that a cost for the agency and deliver the work as it was promised. And this way, a happy customer is a lot better than sending a bill and having a customer that is unsatisfied with your work. So that is something we pride in. There is zero hidden fees in any project that we work on. It's one fixed price that the customers see, and that's the price that they're going to pay for the duration of the project.
What are some examples of those kinds of hidden fees or surprise fees that the end client might face sometimes with other agencies?
Yeah, what I've heard, like the most common one is website work. Initially, let's say the customer is looking for a 6-page website, and during the discovery call, maybe they forgot to mention a component um, that maybe took 5 or 6 hours of development. And because the customer forgot about that, the agency now could say, "Oh, you never told us about this initially, so this is something that would um, come at an additional fee of this much." Now the customer might not be happy because maybe they would assume that the marketing agency is the expert in the field, so they would know exactly what type of website the customer is looking for, and they don't need to mention every key aspect of their website in order for them to be able to price it out. So in this sense, whenever the agency is working on this, together with the bill that they had promised, they would add in these additional fees of, let's say, new components that were not discussed initially in a discovery call.
Hmm.
But like I said, different if you work in an industry enough, you know exactly what type of components a website needs and how much work a website needs. So there shouldn't be any need of additional fees, even if there's a few components that maybe require a few more extra work. That is just something that if you if you spend the resources to work on that and help the customer out, a happy customer is going to lead you to a lot more business than an unsatisfied customer with an additional bill.
Okay. So do you build in, a little bit of cushion into your pricing, assuming something unexpected comes up?
We do kind of an average of how common is this, does this come up essentially. Most of the times it doesn't, because our questionnaire during the discovery call is very thorough and we try to understand the customer to the best of our ability, to the point where we know exactly the components needed for the website and what they're trying, what their final goal is, and kind of even advise them if they're looking for something that requires a lot of development hours, but it's a nice to have rather than a requirement for the industry. If it's not within their budget, we recommend to them that maybe we could achieve this in phase two. One other thing that we do is usually with the websites that we build, we're always able to build on top of them. It doesn't mean that once the customer's needs and objectives have changed in the future, they would need to redo the whole website from scratch. What we would do is we'd just come in and see what the scope of work would be in that phase two and build on top of the initial website, which is usually a lot cheaper than having to redo the whole thing from scratch.
Sure, sure. So I know we've been very focused on kind of what you do to help clients, but I'm curious how you measure success internally for your firm. So if we're sitting here 3 years from now and you've had an awesome 3-year run here at Rootless Agency, and we're sitting back again, like what does that look like? What does success look like for you over the next few years?
Yeah, definitely. This is very, very funny because my other co-founder owns a construction company, and at the beginning of each year, we get together and build this board of what we think the new year is going to look like and what it looks like for the company itself. And usually during this time, what comes up on the boards is, oh, looking to extend the team or maybe offer new services. So where I personally see myself successful, or if I could consider myself successful in next 3 to 5 years, would be if I would be able to have somebody on my teams that could take on that customer engagement aspect of the company, where they would go in and be able to communicate with customers and handle any requests that they might have throughout the project management phase of the work. And together with that, be able to grow the company in a way that, yeah, within the next 3 to 5 years or so, we would have a lot more presence in maybe the Boston area or something. Our current office is in Hudson, but hopefully we would be able to, plug ourselves into the Boston market.
Great. Yeah, Hudson's a little west of Boston for those listening, not too far from where I am here in Acton. Cool.
Right. Yeah.
So what are some challenges that you've faced or maybe you're still grappling with that are kind of getting in the way of achieving as much success as you'd like to have?
One of the biggest challenges usually that I would say we face at Rootless Agency is that when we're working with a specific customer, they would like to see very specific services tailored to their niche industry. And even though we might have, let's say, if it's um, a company that's in the food industry and we might have worked with a restaurant before, they want to see something that's very particular to them, and is something that proves us successful in what they're doing. I would say this is a big challenge because although we might have the knowledge, there has been cases where we're getting a customer for the first time, and there's not much proven expertise in that specific niche industry. That has happened where our selling process becomes a lot harder because we would have to kind of prove to them that we could do what they're looking to get out of hiring us, without the need to prove to send them previous examples of that very specific industry. So I'd say that's the biggest challenge and the biggest misconception as well, I would say, because people believe that in order for a marketing agency to become successful or to achieve a project successfully, they have to have initial experience in that very specific niche industry that they're looking for. But in my opinion, it doesn't really matter once you've achieved 60 to 80 projects in different industries. It becomes a lot of you know common sense, and you kind of know what to implement in each major industry.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've had other guests on the Marketing Agency Power Hour who are very focused on very specific industries, and they really establish themselves in that industry. And then I completely appreciate what you say, that a good marketing professional should be able to support a lot of different industries. And I kind of approach the similar issue as a chief financial officer from doing CFO consulting. I can walk into most industries and have a pretty good impact, but there are some that I shy away from because I know they're very specialized. I might not have a lot of experience in specific areas, so I do stay away from them. So, are there particular areas that you learned you need to stay away from?
Yeah, totally. And we never bite more than we could chew. I hope that's the expression.
Yes.
In what happens is that once we jump on that discovery call and we figure out that, hey, maybe this is not what we offer, and this is a service that maybe it doesn't really fit well with the way that we strategize our projects and how we deal with them. What we usually do is we first check if we have any partner agency that would be able to handle something like this. And if not, we just let the customer know that thank you so much for reaching out to us, but unfortunately, this is something that we cannot work on. So yes, there's definitely cases like that where we would be super honest.
Are you looking for agency partners to fulfill certain kinds of services now, or do you have those partnerships in place?
I'm always looking to connect with other agency founders. So even though we might have partnerships with other agencies, I'm still looking to connect with other agency founders because some services are so niche and so specific that there's always room for more things to add to that list of offerings that you could give to your customers.
So speaking of connecting with other business owners, I know you've got another entity, Rootless Social, which is more of a community that you've built out. Could you tell us a little bit more about Rootless Social?
That is right. Rootless Social is an organization that brings together a lot of different founders from different backgrounds, all with the commonality of being rootless. Now you might ask, what is rootless? Rootless is having no connections in a specific industry or having no specific roots within that industry. That's why it's called rootless. It means that somebody who maybe jumped into the pharmaceutical industry and opened a business into that world, or maybe somebody whose parents were lawyers their whole life, but he wanted to start a food cart and have multiple food carts all around Massachusetts. The whole idea is we bring together founders that maybe didn't have that initial support from their family, from their friends, or from proven entrepreneurs in the industry that they're in, and try to give them that support that they need through these connections that they could join into that they could find into these events. Now, as of today, we're currently hosting an event in Boston every other month or so. We have one coming up in September 16th. We've partnered with Silicon Valley Bank for that event, and we're expecting around 300 different founders, creators, investors to join this event. We have another one coming up in New York in October, and our plans are to have more events throughout the east side of the United States, with locations like Miami and Chicago joining later on during this year. The whole concept is people come in, they have a drink, they have some food, and they try to connect with either investors or founders or maybe other partners that they're looking to see and connect and see how they could help them within their career and entrepreneurship journey.
And Rootless Social is open to entrepreneurs across all industries, or just kind of marketing related?
As of right now, our events are very generic. So any industry that you're in, you're more than welcome to join these events and see if you can connect with other powerful entrepreneurs as well. We are aiming once our member community uh, grows, we're aiming to do more niche and more specific events where, let's say, for example, we invite everybody in the food industry who has a business in the food industry to join these events. But that is our plan for next year. As of right now, everybody is welcome to join these events as long as they have an idea or a concept of starting a business or having their own business.
And what if someone's curious about it? What's the best place for them to go to learn more about Rootless Social?
Yeah, definitely. So the best place would be our social media. They could find us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. And they could also go to rootless.com and find more about us there.
Awesome. Well, that's great. You're engaging with the broader community like that. I'm curious, when it comes back to your firm itself, we talked about your goals over time, but I'm curious how you manage the accounting and finances in your agency. Who do you have do it? What does your involvement look like?
Yeah, awesome. If I could handle accounting and financing as well, that would be I would be a superhero. Yeah, we have an accountant that handles all that for us, and my other co-founder usually takes care of everything financing and anything but bookkeeping and all that. But yes, we do have an accountant that handles all that, and I do advise all business owners to have an accountant that handles all that because it's very easy to make a mistake.
Yep. And what kind of reports or metrics do you get that help you stay abreast of what's going on in the business and help inform you to make management decisions?
Yeah, definitely. What I like to see and to explore best to the best knowledge of my financial world is the cash flow analysis. I believe that in if a marketing company is not spending on marketing, that is kind of telling the customers do not hire us because they don't know what they're doing. So what I like to see is based on what the cash flow was for specific months, compare it to the previous months, and if we've managed to get more cash in than we had expected, then try to repurpose that money into growing our marketing campaigns and see if we can invest more into that, and vice versa. There's been cases where we haven't brought in as much cash as we had anticipated. That means that we would have to see what we could cut off in order for the business to continue to thrive. So I would say I'm a big cash flow analysis to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because most people just go straight to the profit and loss, the P&L, the income statement in accounting terms, because that's all your revenue and expenses, but it can be very different than cash flow. So you go to the cash flow statement, which
Right,
I respect because that's what is the lifeblood of your business. Make sure the cash is coming in. So whatever the
exactly.
income statement or the P&L claims you made for profit, you want to make sure you're actually generating that much cash, if not more.
Exactly, because the whole goal is to bring in essentially as much revenue as possible. So if you're not spending enough on marketing, and if you have the funds to spend on marketing, then it's a lot harder to do so. So why not?
So I'm curious, how do marketing firms go about investing in marketing for themselves?
Very, very good question. What I do personally is obviously we spend on ads like Google ads, and sometimes into social media ads, although it's not very um, straightforward, I would say, because somebody who's looking for marketing services does not usually go on social media. The social media aspect is more for if you have a product or if you have something that's very specific that people could buy out right away, and it works out a lot better than this would. But I would say Google Ads are a big plus in for a marketing agency. It's something that every marketing agency should do, even though they might be very well established in the industry and might have a very good source of leads. The second best thing that we do is networking. You mentioned Rootless Social, and we meet a lot of businesses during the Rootless Social, and we have had cases where during conversation it comes up that they were looking for specific services or a marketing agency to help them with something. So that has been a big plus as well, where you would just meet people from different events and be able to um, create leads out of nothing, essentially, out of just pure conversation. And the other best thing I would say is you mentioned BNI as well earlier. So I belong to a BNI out of Lexington, and that group has been foundational to my business because what it has allowed us to do is I now have 30 people that are out there speaking very great feedback or very great words for my business to other people whenever somebody else is looking for services in the marketing industry. So having that support group, it could be BNI or it could be a group of friends that whenever they're out there and they're connecting with other professionals, they're recommending you. That's a big plus in this industry as well.
So there's got to be a big story about how you came to be running Rootless, starting out as a software engineer. But let's go back in time a little bit to little Xhulio. Did you think you'd be running your own and owning your own business one day?
No, to be honest, no. It's it's very cliche because when I was a kid, like every other kid, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be an astronaut." Like that was my that was my dream. And then as I was growing up, I figured out actually being an astronaut is very painful because you have to um, you cannot really sleep in a bed because you're in zero gravity at all times, and all the different things that come with it. So that's when I grew up and I realized, okay, I'm gonna jump into software engineering and go into computer science. So I did that, and I actually graduated valedictorian from my college in Albania for computer science for business. It was a very niche um, degree, I would say. And then as soon as I finished college, I won the green card lottery. Are you familiar with the green card lottery?
Not specifically. Tell me more.
So the green card lottery is a diversity program that started, I think, 50 or 60 years ago, many years ago, where the United States government wanted to bring people from all around the world to be able to live here and work here. And what they did was they essentially have everybody apply to this green card lottery, and they're able to check their results within a year or so to see if they won or not. And they issue around 50,000 visas per year. The applicants into this lottery is in the millions, like 1.7, 1.8. I think it's a huge number of people that apply, and chances of you winning are super low. But it was my second time applying. First time I didn't win. This time I had won, but I didn't really believe that I had won because I thought maybe one of my software engineering friends was playing a trick. You could easily send a scam email to somebody if you're a software engineer because you know exactly how all that thing works. So I was like, no, there's no way. This is just a trick or a scam from somebody. So I had to call the office here in the States and confirm with them that this was legitimate. And they confirmed it and they said, yeah, congratulations, this is all legitimate. So go through the process and good luck with everything. So I went through the process, did the interview and everything, and then I had the possibility to move to the States back in 2017 now. And that's when I started working as a software engineer for Verizon. After working for Verizon for a few years, then I moved to ConnectBase and worked for ConnectBase, which is a startup out of Westboro, as a software engineering manager. When I was in college, I was also working as a software engineer part-time for a company in Albania as well. So throughout all these years is where I got that software engineering knowledge. And that now you might ask, how does that lead to the marketing company? Because they're a little bit unconnected and unrelated. So one other very, very big service that we offer is product development for companies. If I had jumped in the industry into having my own company right away from software engineering into saying, hey, I'm gonna create an agency that builds apps for other businesses, that would have been very risky and very hard to do so because business owners tend to not really trust you if you don't have that much credibility set in the industry first. Meaning, if I had said, yeah, I can build you an app for whatever you're looking for, and I have all the experience backing me because I've worked for corporations and startups and all that, they would still not trust me as much as they would trust an agency that has done 5 projects for the same industry, and proven successful to be to have those projects into that industry. So I had to pivot and I had to say, hey, what if we jump into this industry, we spin it off as a marketing agency. We come in with I brought in my friends that do branding and logo design and say, hey, we come in and offer logos and website for businesses. And this way, what we're trying to do is we're trying to build that credibility and set foot into this marketing industry, in the sense that whenever a company is looking to do product development, we now have these projects that we could talk about, and we have these projects that we could show them that, yes, we are knowledgeable and we could do that. So essentially, if you could categorize my business into 3 main services, it would be branding, website development, and product development. And that product development aspect is for companies who are looking to build a very custom solution, a very custom website or application or mobile application, that we would come in and build something like that for them.
And so, how much of your business would you say is product development versus more traditional marketing?
I would say the traditional marketing takes the biggest chunk of the business, just because that's what we are advertising right now, and we don't really advertise product development at all, I would say, when it comes to these paid marketing campaigns and all that. Usually it comes out as a more natural conversation with business owners as we're discussing their, let's say, branding needs or website needs, and they mentioned that they're looking for something like this. So as of right now, I would say it's 70 to 30%, where 70% is the traditional marketing, and then 30% is customers who already have hired us for their traditional marketing, and they're looking to see if we could help them with a little bit more of a custom solution.
So, did you start the agency kind of as a part-time gig on nights and weekends, and it just kind of grew, or how did you make that shift from a steady paycheck to owning your own company?
Right, right. So what I did was, as I was working as a software engineering manager for our startup, or for the startup out of Westboro, I started the Rootless Agency as well and was taking on projects one at a time, just to see if there was any demand in the market, and to see if I can prove myself successful to these customers that I'm working with. So I was taking projects, like I said, one at a time, just to see if the customers were happy and they actually liked what we were doing. And as that began to grow, that's when I decided, okay, it might be a good idea to transition and do this full time, and see what we can do, as if we were working on this full time.
Okay, and so then you eventually got enough customers, you just went for it.
Yeah, a year later, a year after we started doing this part-time, that's when we had enough customers to say, yes, let's jump ship and do this. It wasn't as safe as I'm making it seem to be, because it wasn't as if our customers were providing a steady stream of income, every month, to say that, okay, now that's going to replace your paycheck and you can quit. But it was rather more something in the lines of, it can cover up to 60% of what you need to fund everybody's salaries that are working on this, and the business itself. So now I have to put in that extra 40% for it's the new time that I now have to see if I could grow the business into that. So it was a little bit of risk and luck at the same time, and a lot of connections and meeting new people.
So if you could go back in time 3 years when you started Rootless, or even before that, earlier in your career, and give yourself some advice with the benefit of hindsight, what would you tell yourself?
Do more networking. That's literally the advice I tell people every day, and it's something that I've learned the hard way, I would say. I'm a huge introvert, so you wouldn't really see me in networking event or see me meet new people. And when I first started the business, I was basically um, not not using my networking skills to my full capacity, if you put it that way. Like, I would go to networking events, but I would meet like one or two people and say, all right, I'm done. That's my networking for the night. Whereas if I was me, um, from today, going back 3 years in time and join these events again, I would leave that place without meeting at least 10 people and, just having conversation. You never know. What I've learned from networking events is you never know when that person is going to need you. And it's most of the time, it's not right there and then. Most of the time is maybe a few months down the road, they got your business card, they have your email or phone number, and they either hear somebody who's looking for something that you offer, or they need it themselves, and they just give you a call and say, "Help me with this," or "Let's talk more about this." So networking is a huge, huge aspect to not just marketing companies, but any business. As long as you can, the more you can network, the more it's going to grow your business. It's not going to be instantaneous, but it will definitely help in the long term.
Yeah, I sympathize with you. I'm not very good with networking events myself. I'm introverted. Well,
Do you join any networking events?
I was in BNI for a year, maybe 10 or 11 months. I just networking events aren't really my thing.
Mhm.
I go to them sometimes, but I really just don't like to work the room. I really have to screw up my motivation to get out there and make myself do it. I'd much rather have kind of one-on-one conversations with people like you or other people that I know, figure out how I can help. But, put me in a room with like 50 people and expect me to go talk to them all. That's not going to go very well.
Yeah, it's not something easy to do. I still find it very hard to talk to a lot of people just because it's something that it's out of my comfort zone. But at the end of the night, once I've talked to that many people, then I'm like, all right, this was a great night, and I'm glad that I did that.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I've seen it.
Yep. Cool. So what do you like to do outside of work, Xhulio?
Oh, that's the fun part. So I like to do a lot of things. I have a food blog. I cook a lot. And I was like, oh, why don't I film myself and put this out on Instagram and YouTube, and my website? So that is one of my hobbies that I have. I play sports, like play basketball. I used to play a lot of soccer, but finding places to play soccer in the States is a little bit hard. So I've transitioned into basketball. And in the winter, I go skiing a lot as well. So those would be my main hobbies.
Nice. Still young enough you can get up and down the court or up and down the soccer field. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, my knees are complaining, so it's a lot of strengthening exercises as well to be able to allow me to play sports like that. And it so happens that all the sports that I like are very very knee heavy, like skiing and basketball. So
Yeah. Yeah, I find that half my strength training workouts these days are like dedicated to rehabbing my shoulders or my hip. Spend like as much time, trying to get stronger as I do spending just trying to rehab and keep my joints in shape.
I wish I had realized that earlier, because it's I had a knee injury like 3 years ago now, that I was out of any sports for a year and some months, and there wasn't really a torn ligament or anything like that. There was nothing. Like MRI was negative, CAT scan was negative, like everything was negative, but it's just the knee could not perform at all. But the only thing that helped was strengthening exercises. And what I realize now is that if you want to be able to play these sports and be able to do this high intensity physical activity sports, you have to take care of strengthening. Otherwise, you'll just ruin it and you'll not be able to enjoy them.
Hmm. What sports are the most popular in Albania?
Soccer, obviously, or football, like we call it there.
Yes, yours.
Yeah, there are football fields everywhere in Albania, and even if there isn't one, we make our own football fields. All you need is 4 stones to make the goal post, and that's pretty much it. You can begin playing. And I remember when I was a kid, we used to play for like 5 hours back to back, and it was just amazing. Like we would even play neighborhood to neighborhood. Like we would bring all the kids from one neighborhood versus the kids from the other neighborhood and play games every weekend. So it was really fun.
Is water polo big in Albania?
Not really. No. It's
No,
really,
in some of the neighboring countries, the Slavic countries seem to be
yeah.
like the Olympic champions are always like Croatia, Serbia, sometimes Italy, right? But the Slavic countries are big into water polo, from what I can tell, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we got like soccer, and then there's a few empty spots of nothing, and then maybe volleyball or
Okay.
some sport like that. But soccer takes the majority of the physical activities that people like to do.
Yeah. And you mentioned you've got a food blog. Tell us more. Where can people check that out?
Yeah, definitely. So my food blog is called Xhulio Cooks. And people can find me on Instagram, TikTok, on my website, juliacooks.com, and YouTube as well, where I do some more long-term video content as well. And this is something that started when I was in college in Albania. It was kind of like a fun hobby to have. And it managed to grow to almost 7,000 followers on Instagram and 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it's been a fun project that's been going on the side. And if you're looking for a Balkan recipe or an Albanian recipe, you'll find it there for sure. I have 5 or 6 Balkan recipes that are #1 on Google right now. So
That's awesome.
chances are, if you've looked up a Balkan recipe, my website might have come up.
So that's Xhulio Cooks, which is XHULIO, XhulioCooks.com. Everybody, check it out.
That's
Find
correct.
those Albanian recipes. Try something new.
Yeah, definitely.
What is there? How would you characterize Albanian food? Is there a generalization you can make, or is it pretty diverse?
It's, I would say, the closest thing that people are very familiar with in Greek food, that maybe would fall under the same category. Because we're very close geographically, we've exchanged a lot of dishes, and we've maybe changed some stuff from dishes that we've gotten from them, or vice versa. So I would say that's where we would fall, but it's very simple food. It's not very complex like the French cuisine. And all you need is usually just a few ingredients to make something super delicious. So it's very worth giving it a try, because it's really hard to fail usually.
Well, awesome. Hey, if people want to connect with you on the marketing front for your day job, where's the best place for them to find you?
Best place to find me is on my LinkedIn, Xhulio Jamaku. And our second best place to find me is on my website, rootlessagency.com. So those are the two best spots to reach out to us.
Well, thank you so much, Julio, for joining us today and talking about how you got into the marketing industry, what your focus is there, and a little bit about cooking and things you like to do for fun. It's been a very nice discussion. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing with the audience.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. And this was a joyful conversation on my end as well. And we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, so for those of you listening, if you learned something today or enjoyed this discussion, please spread the word about the podcast. Let other agency owners know it exists and get this information into the hands of others as well. So thanks again, Julio.
Thank you, and have a great day.
You too. This has been another exciting episode of the Marketing Agency Power Hour. We'll see you all next time. Another episode in the books. Thank you so much for tuning in. For show notes and more, please visit marketingagencypowerhour.com. This show is sponsored by SmartBooks, providing marketing agencies with bookkeeping, accounting, and finance support. With SmartBooks, you gain the clarity and confidence to make your agency a success. Until next time.